Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing with you my completed pages for the month of June. This month I completed 9 or 10 full pages, and then I did some practice pages in about 4 other books that I'll show you at the end. And this month I had the most fun coloring that I've had in months since before I started my channel. I mentioned that in the last Color With Me I posted, but I just really truly came out of my coloring slump and have really enjoyed coloring this month, just to the absolute maximum. And so I can't wait to show you the pages that I did. Real quick, there are cicadas outside that are so loud, so if you can hear those, I am really sorry, but there's not much of a way around it, and I wanted to go ahead and get this posted for you since we're already a few days into July. And then you might also hear my guinea pigs in the background, as always. But let me go ahead and jump in with it. First, we have the Kauawaii coloring book by Alexandra Franzese, and I have the travel size. This book I showed my whip last month, and here is the completed page that I finished. So it's all of these different breeds, and I mentioned in my May completed coloring pages that when I was starting this, I was wanting to do it for my mom, who's a veterinarian, and I didn't realize that she watches my videos through, and so she actually saw it. It kind of spoiled the surprise, but it's okay. She's still really excited about it. But yeah, I also mentioned in that video that I was trying to keep the breeds pretty accurate since she is a veterinarian, and I wanted to like look up different colors of these different breeds, and some of them I was unsure what kind of breed they were. So I started by filling in the breeds that I knew what they were, like the Afghan, and then I went in and did the other ones with miscellaneous colors. And I really am happy with the way that it turned out. I really played around with shading. And in fact, I just remembered that I took a photo of what it looked like before shading. So I'll put that in here and show you that's before I did the colored pencils. And then this is of course after. And I did this dog to look like her dog Clifford, and did its little shirt green because that's her favorite color. So really in love with this page. I think it's so fun. It was my first page in this book, which is a theme for this month. I did a lot of my new books from my spring huge coloring book haul, and so it was really fun. That was part of what was so exciting, was to do so many untouched books. So really had fun with this page, and again, that was in Kauawaii coloring book. Next, this is Nature by Art Therapy, and the illustrator is Diane Dufour. And I just posted a Color With Me about this. It was the last video I posted. And you can hear more of my thoughts on this, and I, from start to finish, from picking out the page to completing it and giving final thoughts, I filmed everything and edited it together. And it took me over 5 hours to do this page. And on a Saturday, I just came in here and filmed, and I trimmed it down to about an hour. But I have such mixed emotions about this. Now looking at it with fresh eyes, I do love the water. I love the clouds. And I think the artwork on the page is beautiful. I said it before and I'll say it again, that this book is just absolutely stunning. I am obsessed with it. I love the paper that it's on, and I just don't have anything else like it. And so I was really excited to do a page in this book. And like I said, I do love it. However, I feel like it lacks some detail, maybe in the rocks. I don't know. I just feel like it is missing something. And someone left a super helpful comment saying how I could maybe add some more depth and shadows at the base of the trees and behind the rocks, and it would add some more dimension to the image and make it look better to the eyes. And I thought that was such a good suggestion. I think that's really it. You can hear it in my Color With Me. I explained that I was struggling that day for some reason with the shading, and it just wasn't coming to me very naturally. So maybe this is something I should revisit later on. But in that moment in the video, yeah, I was struggling for some reason. I think because I was coloring for so long and took no breaks, that I just got a little bit fuzzy headed. But I still love the page, and I had a blast doing it with you guys in that Color With Me. So, oh, and as far as supplies, I used a lot more mixed media on this page. I tried to challenge myself to do more, and I'm wanting to experiment more with some different things. So, of course, I used the colored pencils as shading, which is newer to me. Ohuhu markers. Then I used acrylic markers to create the clouds, and I used my King Art gel sticks for the sky, and I experimented using water with those for the first time. And I also used my Posca acrylic markers and jelly rolls. Another suggestion was covering up the black lines on the waterfall with the white to make a stronger effect of the water falling. And I thought that was a great suggestion as well. And I've done it with rain, but I didn't even think to do it in this image. So there's a lot of things that I feel like I could have changed, but I really felt like I pushed myself out of my comfort zone with this page. It's a lot more intricate than I'm used to, and I used a lot of different media. And so I am glad I did it because I feel like I really learned a lot from it. And again, that was in nature. The next page is in Oceans by my favorite coloring book artist, R.J. Hampson. I'm going to link any books that I show or any coloring supplies that I mention in the description for you in case you're curious. R.J. Hampson is my absolute favorite, and I have a really exciting giveaway coming up that has to do with R.J. Hampson. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I'm just finalizing the prize a little bit, and hopefully we'll get that up here soon for you. But this book was also untouched, and it was new to me, and I did this page, and I am really, really happy with this page. Like I said, I enjoyed coloring this month the most that I have, maybe since I started coloring. And I feel like I've really gotten a lot better. I feel more confident in my coloring, and something felt different this month. Something clicked, and I got that excitement that I had when I first started coloring mixed with I've been practicing for a while and feel like I've gotten better than when I first started. So I felt more confident in what I was doing. Like there was the enjoyment when I first started coloring, but then I would be disappointed in my page and it would kind of take away from it. But now the feeling of being satisfied with a page when I do it, it's just, there's nothing like it. And I was really happy with this page. I had so much fun with it. So it's named Hello, which I just think is so cute. And I love the names of his pages. And I think it's really cool that this is black because none of the other pages are like that. And it just really makes this image unique and pop. And I had so much fun playing around with the light on this. I went through and added the yellow first, and then colored in the center part, and then I did I think it's anglerfish, is that right? And then did the scuba diver here. And I knew I wanted the anglerfish to be like a deep, deep purple. I know a few months ago, I think if it is an anglerfish, and I'm not mistaken about that, I think there was a few months ago that one rose to the surface and it went kind of viral, and it was actually really quite small. But I kind of looked up that image and thought I wanted to do deep purples like that, and I wanted to do some lighter purples where the light would be hitting, and then make it like kind of deep in the darkness farther away, and had a lot of fun with that. And then I, with a colored pencil, added a metallic colored pencil actually, and it was Prismacolor, added the center of the eye and then just lightly went over it to make it look like it's kind of glossed over and cloudy. And then the part I'm most proud of with this is the scuba diver. I honestly was going to bed and just wanted to keep it simple. So I was at first wanting to do him in blue. I don't know why, but I was thinking I wanted a blue scuba suit. But what happened is I looked up an image, and I'll put it on the screen, of what a scuba helmet color might be. And I found this image. And so I based it off of that roughly. And then I decided to just keep coloring in certain parts of the suit with the same colors to tie it in. And before I knew it, I had the whole suit filled up. And I kind of really like them. I don't know if you would say monochromatic, I don't know, but I love that it's all kind of within the same family. And I think it adds to the fact that, if he's this deep in the water, you're not going to see a bunch of different shades on him anyway. And so I don't know, I just loved the true oranges and then the true purples with the yellow in the middle. I just thought it really turned out nice. I loved it. I left the bubbles as is. I thought about changing them, but I just thought I would leave that. And I made the rope a little bit lighter as it is going up towards the surface. But yeah, I'm just really pleased with this one. My fingerprints kind of got on the black part of the page, but that's okay. I was just really excited to share this one with you. And again, that was in Oceans. Next, I did a page in Cozy Cottage Core by Melanie Bess. And again, this was an untouched book. And I did this page. I did this kind of for the summertime. I was kind of trying to really lean into the summer and flowers and bugs and that kind of stuff. I was enjoying coloring with the seasons, but I loved the way that this turned out. Again, I did it at nighttime and just tried to keep it simple. This wasn't really meant to be, I don't think, a monarch butterfly based on the patterns of the wings that were already drawn. But I, for some reason, was really feeling like I wanted, I guess like the last one I showed you, to keep with purple, yellow, and orange. And so I had the bumblebee, and I had fun playing around with keeping its wing, or making it transparent, I mean. And then the flower here, I had fun shading, and I just realized that I didn't add any highlights. But that's okay, I still like it. I might just leave it as is. Sometimes the white, I think what I'm realizing that I colored in with multiple shades of marker. Like on this, I did a light shade, a medium shade, and then a darker. And then I used the same colored pencil and pressed dark and light and used that to kind of tie it all together. And so I guess I used the colors to add highlights, but on the bee, I didn't highlight, and on the butterfly, I didn't. But I feel like the flower looks finished anyway because I added highlights to the stems and added the light source over here. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. It was another one. Oh, and the other thing I did is I added metallic pen to the stars. They're not as metallic-y, shiny as I expected, but that's okay. I have it in my save for later. Hopefully I'll be ordering them this week. I have glossy accents and glitter Mod Podge. I always say that, or is it Mod Podge? Mod Podge. But anyway, I saw J.I. Colorist use that on her birthday cake coloring page and have been wanting it ever since to add some details and to have fun with it. So I'm planning on ordering those this week along with some other supplies. I'll hopefully have a haul for you guys as well within the next few weeks. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to build up some other stuff, have some extra different mixed media to use, and I had a lot of fun with that this month. So I had fun doing those little stars. But again, this is in Cozy Cottage Core. The next one is in my first ever Color by Line book, and this is by Vivi Tinta. And I mentioned in my coloring book haul that I've been eyeing this book for a while. I've never done a color by line, like I said, and I just thought it was an interesting concept and wanted to do something different. And so I had a lot of fun with this page. I think it's really cute. It's colors I would have never picked. Let's see actually to compare to what it looks like back here. Okay, pretty similar. But some of my markers, a lot of my markers are dying as I struggle to get refills or individual markers purchased. And so some of the color matches aren't perfect. But I didn't actually look at this. I just went off the lines, and I think it turned out really nice. I do think I could have used maybe a little bit of lighter shades so that the lines popped a little more. I know a lot of people like to do that in these books, do a much lighter shade than the line, and it just adds some dimension. And some of the lines you can see like down here where the brown goes over it, it looks a little bit sloppy. And so that's something I kind of had to get used to with this book, is if you go over the line, the black is a lot more forgiving, and you had to be a lot more careful on this. You can see that up here with the leaves too. But when you step away and you just look at it, you don't see that, and it was really fun. And it was, very therapeutic, and even more so than a color by number where you have to look at the number, make sure you have the right marker. This one, you're just looking at the line and trying to match it. And so it was so much fun. It was so relaxing and great to do before bed. So that's Stress Relief Color by Line. They just came out with a new Color by Line as well, but this is the older one. Next, I did a page in Beautiful Days of Green Ivy, I think it's called, but someone just recently commented that it's actually called something else. So please either comment that below, or I'll try to put it on the screen if I can find the different translation for it. And I think she just came out with another book that's about nostalgia that's also beautiful. I just adore this book. Again, it's a thick book. I've raved about it before, but it's got much better paper. I love that it's got the reference images and it's got a section for each season. And it's stunning to me. And again, it's unlike any book that I have. So this is the page that I did, and I just realized as I was talking about doing pages for the different holidays, I realized that I did this as spring, and I think it's officially summer, I'm pretty sure. And so I just realized I should have done a summer page, but that's okay. This one is a little clothesline here with this girl and her black cat who's in every image. And yeah, I've explained this before when I talked about the other page that I did, and I'm working backwards in it since this image is now covered. I'm working backwards, and in case you haven't seen me talk about this otherwise, it works out well because summer is a completely separate thing. So for instance, if I would have done summer this time, I would have just started with this image because I would start in the back of summer, and I can jump around from the seasons because they're separated by those pages, if that makes sense. So it just works out perfectly. But anyway, these are perforated. You can tear them out or whatever. But I loved shading with the pencils on this. I think it really added to the texture that just like it is in this image on her dress with the clouds. I didn't blend those. I left them as is. And on the bags and the little hat here, the hat isn't quite the same texture, but still, I think it's pretty close. And like I said, have explained with this other page that this has taught me a lot. Copying an image teaches me so much, almost more than like watching other people's videos and stuff. Doing it with my hands and experimenting teaches me like nothing else. And I never thought I would like copying an image, but now that I have done it in a few different books, it really is. It's like a workbook, and it takes the pressure off because I don't have to pick the colors, and I really just love it so much. So I'm excited to get more books like that because it teaches me. And if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it in different books. The other one I have, the first one I think I have that has a copied image is Urban Anna's books, where she colors storefronts from around the world, and they're really cool because you can see the different storefronts in the front and where they are, but they have an image that you can copy, and it's a smaller book, and I think it's a little cheaper than this one, but it's a great one too. That it's just the color choices and the shading and the textures. It really challenges me and teaches me a lot, like I said. So anyway, one of these days I'm truly going to translate this stuff that's in here so I can learn more about it. But for now, I've just been coloring. But please, if you have any more information, feel free to leave it down below because I'd love to hear it. My next page is in Gabby Wolf's Mini Mania, Volume 1. Again, this was an untouched book. My goal was to really do a page in all of my untouched books. I didn't quite make it through all of them, but I'm already starting in July on getting those other ones. So really excited about that. But this is one of my favorite pages that I did this month. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have already seen this page because it was a buddy color. And I'm gonna put Nicole's page up right here. And I love her pink trees and her bright colors. I know that she wasn't really happy with this page, and she was really inspiring in the way that she handled that and still wanted to post it because we all go through ups and downs and pages we don't like. But I think it's beautiful. I love the blends in the background. I just think it's stunning. And the stars that she added, and she added a lot more extra details than mine, and I just thought it turned out beautiful. If you haven't checked out her Instagram, you definitely should. I will put it in the description below. And this is my page. I used number 96 from Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog and number 433. I used this for the building and this for the ocean down here, roughly just as starting points. And I started with this for the buildings, but I kind of veered from that a little bit. You can see this part has a little more orange in it, just because my brown markers are dying. So I kind of had to go with it. And I tried to darken those colors up with colored pencils. Then I tried to keep the greenery quite simple with the pop of the mushrooms. And then we got to the eyes of these little cats. And let me tell you, I have had the most difficult time with eyes lately because I try to color around them, and sometimes the alcohol marker will bleed into the white no matter how far away I stay from them. It will bleed into the white, so then I will go use my Jelly Roll pen to cover that up, but I'll inevitably oftentimes cover up the black because I don't have a fine enough white marker to go, or pen. And so then I'm going back and forth, and I don't know if you've ever had this struggle, but trying to color a tiny little eyeball that's the white and the black makes such a difference. You can ever so slightly put that in the wrong spot, the black, like the tiniest little difference, and it looks like they have a lazy eye. And anyway, I have gone back and forth, and this has been happening a lot lately, where I will go over it so much, and then I'll use my Posca, and then that rips up the page and almost makes a hole through it, because you can see on that one it kind of happened because it's water-based. And so I just have the biggest issue with eyes. Anyway, I'm happy with the way they turned out now, whereas before they were black, filled in mostly with just a white dot. I like this, and now I feel like on all the other pages I will probably do that. You can see the eyes of her critters are, like I said, black with white filled in, but I actually think that this really brings it to life. And because there's so much pigment on their little eyes, they are raised in kind of 3D, which kind of worked out in the end, but they definitely gave me a lot of pain. And then I had fun shading on this ledge here and doing the ocean. And then finally, I added glitter to the fishes. After the fact, a few days later, I had the thought to, and that was one of my favorite embellishments I've ever done. Again, I've just had so much fun adding little tweaks with other mixed media, and I felt like that was perfect for this, just a subtle little pop of something. And the center of these flowers are also with a metallic gold pen. But yeah, that's this page. One of my favorite pages I've ever done. I was super happy with it, and I hate that Nicole wasn't happy with hers, but again, I thought it was beautiful, and we said we'll be sure to do another buddy color. So I'm sure she'll feel even better about that next page. Again, that is Mania by Gabby Wolf. I forgot to mention too, for the nature book where I did the color with me, again, you'll see my color choices in that video if you want to watch it, but I use this kind of for the water to make it look a little whimsical, and it's number 297, just in case you're curious. Okay, and then just a few more pages. We have Tiny Year by Coloring Haven. And this is, I believe, a British magazine that you can buy printed on Amazon. And I got a comment of someone saying that they got this and the paper is just terrible. And it is. It is really terrible. This is my first page I did in it. The lines are really thin, so it's definitely a colored pencil book. However, I used markers, and this is my least favorite page I did this month. Really not happy with it. I will say, now looking at it after the fact, I don't hate it as much as I did when I was doing it, but I was just struggling. I struggle with these intricate little pages like this. I love them, but I really struggle to keep to a color palette. I feel like, well, the plants all need to be like different greens because they're not the same kind of leaf, and the suitcases need to be different browns because they're different types of suitcases, and I want to make everything different, and it ends up being too many colors, and that happened with this. I tried to use this color palette to go off of for the buildings, and then I added other parts of the image to that. And then I added other areas with the same colors, like these red books and such down here. This kind of matches with these. But still, I feel like it was quite busy. And then I thought, well, it will be pulled in, where my markers were dying. I can cover that up with something completely separate happened with this. Again, between white and black, this was all over the place. And I just thought, you know what? I'll fix it with colored pencil shading. Well, then I started doing some shading here and there, and I just wasn't liking it and wasn't feeling inspired. And I'm like, I am not wasting another minute on this page. You know what? There's always next month, or these little images that I could do with colored pencils. And so let's see. There's always July, which is very fun and coastal-y. So maybe I could choose a summery coastal color palette for this, kind of similar to that last one that I used with the blues and the tans and such, and have fun with this one. This one seems easier to me than this one. This one just had such a variety of things that it was difficult for me. But anyway, let me know, do you have any suggestions on when you do a really intricate page like this? How do you make everything tie together? Does it just come naturally to you? Do you have a method? I would love to know any suggestions. But yeah, not my favorite, but again, I know that I'm in the process of learning whenever I am struggling with a page, and I'm excited to do more in this book. Even if the paper is a little bit finicky, I still just love the art, so I can't stop using this book because I just love it. Tiny's on shelves. It's so cute. Anyway, that's again Tiny Year by Coloring Haven. The last full pages that I did is Stained Glass Wildlife by Sin Ung. And this is, I didn't mean to open to this, but this is the whip that I'm working on right now. It's nearly finished, but I need to add the white outline. Oh, I need to also go over the black lines. I found that it makes the image pop better because the marker goes over the line since they're gray, and it makes it look a little bit more sloppy. So I found if I go over it with a really light gray and make those lines pop, it makes the whole image look better. And then I add a white around the animal. So I'll show you what that looks like and what I mean. So this was a buddy color with Chelsea, who I just love, and we chat all the time on Instagram in our DMs. She's incredible, and if you don't follow her on Instagram, you definitely should, because the amount of coloring she does, I don't even know how she is able to do that much coloring. It's incredible, but she is incredible. I'm gonna put her toucan here. So this is one of the pages that we did. Again, you will have already seen this if you follow me on Instagram, but this is what I mean where I add a white outline to them, kind of like a sticker. I think it makes them pop, and I just really love that. And I love her pages. Obviously, they're not the most different since it's a color by number, but I really love the colors that she did pick. Of the ones that it gives you, I just love the way that hers came together, and I love the little dots that she added around hers as opposed to like my white line. It kind of looks like sparkles, and I just really love that. And then the other page we did is this giraffe, which for me was my favorite that we did. And I love hers. She played around with coloring in the white spots, which was really cool. I left them white and of course added that white line. And then again, she has the dots around hers, and I just think it really is amazing. I hadn't seen anybody else do that. And I wrote this in my Instagram caption, but I didn't realize how much I would love this book. And I'm so happy that her and I are doing 2 more pages this month, because it is just such a joy. The sections are just big enough that you can fly through doing a page, but they're small enough that it's still intricate, and it's just the right amount in my personal opinion, and is really satisfying to do. There's a ton of images in here, and I love them all. It's hard to pick one, and I love that the backs are black. I love the unique stained glass look. And then on the back, it has some examples here, and then it has this, which today I went through, and what a game changer this was. I went through and I actually tore out the part in the front that tells you the different colors, and I used the back here. Let me switch this around. And used my Ohuhu swatch sheet and picked out the markers for each of these, which I think is what you're supposed to do anyway, but I didn't do that for my first 2 images. I did have it kind of sloppily written on here, so that helped, but I was like, I need to have a specific thing that I can just, instead of flipping back and forth and trying to look at the bleed sheet, I can just have this to the side. And making this chameleon page was so much easier because of that. And now anytime I do a page in this book, it's going to be even simpler because the markers are picked, If you have a Who, you can pause this, write this down, copy it if you like it, or change any of the ones that you see fit. Some of them are not exact because a lot of my markers have died, so I had to kind of switch it a little. But yeah, this made me want all of her books because she has a bunch. I know there's also a wildflower stained glass book, and I don't remember who it was, I'm so sorry, that commented about these stained glass Sin Ong books, because I know I've asked y'all a lot for coloring book recommendations and you always pull through. And this, someone recommended Sin Ong and just said that these stained glass books are amazing, and I could not be more happy that they did. So if you haven't tried it, and if it sounds like something that's interesting to you, I definitely recommend it, and do this little trick here because it was so lovely, and it was really just a game changer, especially if you're in a coloring rut, or if you're like me and sometimes you want to be coloring but sometimes you're tired from your day and it's just hard to get out your supplies and jump into it. And these kinds of books really help me because I just jump into it, throw some ink on the page, and then once I'm coloring, I don't want to stop coloring, and then I just get on a roll. So it really helped me with my coloring slump this month. So anyway, again, that's Color by Number Stained Glass Wildlife by Sin Ong. And then the last few books I'm going to show you are just kind of some miscellaneous pages. So this first one is Cakes. I think this book is AI, or humans put different images together and sold it for very cheap. And I've talked about it before, and I don't recommend it because of that reason, but it was so cheap. I kept it for my niece and I to color in. And I posted this color with me with my niece a couple weeks ago, and it is one of my favorite videos that I've ever posted, and I will cherish it forever because she is only 4 and she really enjoys coloring with me. I bought her a small set of alcohol markers, but we did this page together, and I'm just going to cherish it forever because she is just such a hoot when we're coloring. And I just thought, I'm going to turn on the camera and edit this up for myself. And then I talked to her parents about it, and they were like, this is too cute not to share with the world. So I posted it. There's captions in the videos of the stuff that she says, and I just go back to that at least once a week and watch it since I posted it, because multiple times a week, because it just makes me laugh. I think it's hilarious. So anyway, if you haven't checked that out, you should. But this is the page, and I just wanted to share it with you because it brought me so much joy. Oh, and then the thing that you'll see in that video, it shocked me. I was showing her how you could cover up mistakes with a Posca marker, and she said, oh, I can use that to add glossy parts, I think is what she called it. And no, I don't think it was glossy parts. To add shines, I think is what she said. And she went and added little highlights to all these cherries by herself. And you can see it in the video, and I was so shocked. And me and her mom were talking about it, and I guess I've mentioned it to her in passing and said that I did that. Or maybe her mom, because she was an art teacher and she has a fine arts degree. But yeah, we just had the most fun, and she had a little glitter here, but she just really impressed me, and we didn't end up having time to finish the whole thing, but she did tell me that this looked completed to her and she loved it and that she was done. So this is how it is, and I will cherish it forever. And after this video, I might even take it out and put it on my refrigerator because I just love it and cherish it, and as I will that video as well. That didn't make sense, but anyway, I don't recommend this book, but I wanted to share that with you. Next, I just have this little tiny coloring book from Tiny Expressions. This one's from the Garden Therapy. Again, I tried to lean into the seasons, so I did this little sunflower and this little strawberry and these little rain boots with some daisies. And I just love these little books. And I've mentioned this in a past video, but my niece colored a sun on this. I'll actually put in an image of it, and I have it up in my cubicle at work. And I just really think these little books are the greatest. I've heard that people like to have them at their desk and color in. I haven't taken them to work with me, but they're just really great to pull out, and you don't really need a bleed sheet. That one, my niece was going over and over on the front sheet, but you don't technically need one. I always put one just to be safe, but they're really, really thick paper made for alcohol markers, and there's 50 sheets in here, and I got a pack, I'll link it below, off of Etsy, and I just think they're great for a little short, quick Anytime you want to just do something really fast and satisfying, I just think they're really fun. So it has different ones if you didn't see my coloring book haul with them. But yeah, really cute. Then I did some practice in how to draw patterns, and this book is also just amazing, and I love it ever more than I love it more than I ever thought that I would even love it. It's getting to that time of the night that I can't speak apparently. But I did these two little patterns here, and I will say when I first did these with the alcohol markers, they were not looking good. Partially because I was on the phone, I was talking to my sister and distracted. They just were not looking good and they were sloppy. The markers were bleeding. It was not good for detailing. But then decided in the back, I was playing around. See how this has that little bee fabric? I played around with it back here and I used acrylic markers instead, and it was way better to me. It looked so much better. And so I went over these with acrylic markers, which I have just been loving playing around with acrylic markers, and I want a bigger set now because they've really made a difference in my coloring. But then I ended up liking these and thinking that they turned out, they're not perfect, but I had fun with it. And I'm going to try to challenge myself to do some more in this book. And I'm really wanting to learn and have more practice so that my pages are better and more entertaining for you guys, and I can share with you more things that I've learned. So I'm trying to learn. And I think Vivi Tinty, if I'm not mistaken, also just came out with a like how to color book or whatever that's really quite similar to this. But I think I'm going to get that as well, just to have a couple of different workbooks to learn some different techniques and patterns and things, because I'm really enjoying looking into those and studying them right now. So anyway, this is by Kauawaii. And then last but not least, a little update on my coloring pencil journey. Still practicing. This is Tiny Tales, a coloring pocketbook volume 2. So last month I did volume 1. This month I did volume 2. And here is the page that I worked on. So this is in the oceans section. Again, I was leaning into oceans and the beach this month. And I really enjoyed taking this and my Prismacolor set with me in a little pouch to and from different places and doing it in the car or while I'm waiting on my dinner. And I think that I'm definitely getting better, but I still have so much to learn. And I'm really enjoying playing around with them and truly beginning to see why everybody loves them. The more that I use them, the more that I love them. And I can really see the benefit of them compared to markers. There's pros and cons to both, but I'm really enjoying playing around with them in this book. So up here, I love this little crab and these fish. I played around with blending them. And something that I've learned from watching a bunch of videos is starting super, super lightly in the beginning and then building up with layers, which a lot of you recommended as well. And that's been a game changer. I still press a little bit too hard on the last step with the blending pencil and kind of destroy the paper. I don't know if that happens to everybody, but I love the feeling. It's very satisfying when you do that. There's something about colored pencils on a page that's just so satisfying. But I still feel like there's something to perfect there with the textures and how hard I press and everything. But anyway, and then I saw RJ Hampson's color with me and how he colored in the water of a well image this month and put the colorless blender on the edge to blend it out and used that. And he has a lot of images like this where they're open-ended and I've never known what to do with them. When I saw him do that, I knew exactly that I wanted to do that here. And so that is the only part of this that's alcohol markers, and I'm really glad that I added that. And again, I like this little fish, and these little guys are so small. There's not a ton to say, but I love the colors on him, and then I had fun making this little guy's fin transparent. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I've said that a billion times in this video, but it's because I truly had so much fun this month. Again, this is in Tiny Tales, a pocketbook. But just as final thoughts, I had so much fun this month, and I'm already jumping into my pages for July, like that chameleon, and some other pages like my pocket, what is it called? Pocket World? I can't remember, but basically Kaukawaii's book that's like Polly Pockets. And I'm just truly having so much fun with coloring right now and have some really exciting videos coming up for you guys. I'm sorry that it's been slower with posting recently, but thank you guys so much for sticking around and being here. Again, here is a quick glance at the sides of these books. I'm going to link them all below if you want them, but there's something about when you complete pages and you're holding all the books like this that is just so satisfying and made me extra excited to film this video for you all. So I'll link any supplies that I've used. Let me know what you've been enjoying coloring this month and how you're doing. I can't wait to connect with you in my next video. And until then, happy coloring. Bye.